texting and calling me, asking me, what you doing? Baby, I'm working. I'm always working. If I'm not working, I'm sleeping. Sleeping so I can work. Working so I can sleep, okay? And on a rare occasion, I'm not working or sleeping. I'm minding my business. That's it. That's what I'm doing.
I'm Taylor, a licensed realtor. I'm here to inform you of the steps to secure a beautiful home and such. Follow me inside.
Taylor McFadden Robinson was 29 years old, a real estate agent in Florence, South Carolina, building a life that most people only dream about. Six-figure income, 2 young boys she adored, a career helping families find homes and rebuild their credit. She was the kind of woman who made things happen for her clients, for her children, for herself. Her neighbors remembered her outside with her kids. Her clients remembered her as someone who genuinely showed up for them. Her social media showed a mother living her best life. Disney trips, family moments, joy.
I'm Taylor, a licensed realtor. I'm here to inform you of the steps to secure a beautiful home and such. Follow me inside. Isn't she lovely? Wouldn't you like to secure a home like this? Let me tell you the steps. The first thing you'll want to do is contact me. I'm your first source. I can help you with getting your pre-approval, or if needed, I can help you get your credit score together. Now that you're pre-approved, what's next? We begin looking at houses. Whether it's a new construction or existing home that you're after, I can help you with that. You found your home. What's next? We're going to the closing table. And I'm going to be right there with you. Now that you know the steps, give me a call.
But behind the life she was building, a threat was growing. Her marriage to Duncan Allen Robinson Jr. had broken down, and Duncan was not a man who accepted that quietly, blocking her car, kicking in her door, following her, attempting to run her over. Taylor saw the danger. She went to the courts in March of 2021 and asked for protection. She was denied. The judge ruled there was a failure to prove the fact of alleged abuse and advised her to handle it through divorce and child custody proceedings instead.
You're looking at copies of the order of protection requested by 29-year-old Taylor McFadden Robinson, filed against her husband, Duncan Robinson Jr. Police say Robinson killed his wife of 7 years Sunday morning at her home in Florence. Her family is just devastated.
To say that her life was cut short in this matter, something I can never get over, my family.
I poured over the thick file of records in family court where I found Taylor's order of protection that she filed for last March. An emergency hearing took place within 24 hours. The order details what Taylor says led her to ask for protection against her husband. A paragraph in the order says, quote, "On this day, March 23rd, 2021, Duncan came over to my home demanding the kids. He followed me after repeatedly being told to leave the premises. I called the police on March 21st. Duncan came to drop the kids off. He blocked my car in and entered my home without permission. On March 12th, Duncan broke my back door after kicking in repeatedly to attempt to enter my home." She said on March 9th, he tried to fight the contractor on her property, and on March 15th, tried to run her over with his car. The judge wrote in its notes that, quote, "Parties were advised to get attorneys and file divorce action. Differences appear to be over children." Those who work within the court system say you have to prove to a judge that you're in fear of your life to be granted an order of protection.
Taylor McFadden Robinson did everything right. She spoke up. She filed paperwork. She tried to use the system that was supposed to protect her. Less than a year later, on the morning of January 23rd, 2022, she was found dead in her home on Rice Planters Drive, shot in the head. Her estranged husband, Duncan Robinson Jr., was charged with her murder. Before we get into what really happened that night, drop a comment below. Have you or someone you know ever felt failed by a system that was supposed to protect them? Let's talk about it.
We have new information in the murder of 29-year-old Taylor Robinson. She was found shot to death in her home over the weekend. Her husband is in jail tonight, charged with her murder. Her family said at his bond hearing earlier this week, she tried to protect herself from him, but a judge denied her an order of protection. Tonight, ABC 15's Tanya Brown able to confirm that Taylor Robinson did file for that order and that it was denied. Tanya's been poring over family court records. She joins us live from the Florence County Judicial Center. So, Tanya, why did the judge actually deny it?
Jennifer, court records show the judge denied it for, quote, failure to prove facts of alleged abuse. Now, the judge also advised Taylor and her husband in his ruling on what else they needed to do. You're looking at copies of the order of protection requested by 29-year-old Taylor McFadden Robinson, filed against her husband, Duncan Robinson Jr. Police say Robinson killed his wife of 7 years Sunday morning at her home in Florence. Her family is just devastated.
To say that her life was cut short in this matter, something I can never get over, my family.
I poured over the thick file of records in family court where I found Taylor's order of protection that she filed for last March. An emergency hearing took place within 24 hours. The order details what Taylor says led her to ask for protection against her husband. A paragraph in the order says, quote, on this day, March 23rd, 2021, Duncan came over to my home demanding the kids. He followed me after repeatedly being told to leave the premises. I called the police on March 21st. Duncan came to drop the kids off. He blocked my car in and entered my home without permission. On March 12th, Duncan broke my back door after kicking in repeatedly to attempt to enter my home. She said on March 9th, he tried to fight the contractor on her property, and on March 15th, tried to run her over with his car. The judge wrote in its notes that, quote, parties were advised to get attorneys and file divorce action. Differences appear to be over children. Those who work within the court system say you have to prove to a judge that you're in fear of your life to be granted an order of protection. Taylor's sister shared her frustration during Robinson's bond hearing Monday about the denial of the protection order.
The system has failed us. My sister asked for a restraining order, and the judge denied it.
Court records show the couple had a final divorce hearing set for next month right here at the Florence County Judicial Center.
And a top story that we've been following all week, the community showing an outpouring of love for a Florence real estate agent who was shot and killed in her own home. A neighbor made this cross with Taylor McFadden Robinson's name on it. It's in the front yard of her home on Rice Planters Drive. Police have charged Taylor's husband, Duncan Robinson Jr., with her murder. Barnett lives in Taylor's community and says he just wanted to do something special in her memory.
It was a heinous crime, and she was very well known, had her experience worked out very well with her properties that she sold and everything else. And I mean, she would always be out in the yard playing with the kids, always speak when I rode by, very nice.
According to online court records, Ms. Robinson filed for an order of protection in March of last year, but it was denied. The two had a divorce hearing scheduled for next month.
She's the real estate agent who was murdered in Florence. Court records show her husband, Duncan Robinson, who is charged in her death, wants to get out of jail on bond. Police say he shot and killed his wife back in January. Court records also show that she tried to get an order of protection against Duncan last March, but was denied. At this time, it's not clear if and when a judge will hear Robinson's motion for a bond.
By the time Duncan Robinson Jr. stood in the Florence County Judicial Center in November 2024, Taylor McFadden Robinson had been gone for nearly 3 years. 3 years of her boys growing up without their mother. 3 years of her family carrying a grief that no verdict can touch. 3 years since a Sunday morning in Florence, South Carolina changed everything. Duncan pled guilty. He received a life sentence, no parole. The man who broke into the home of the mother of his children and shot her in the head will spend the rest of his life behind bars. And yet, the question that stays with this case is not about the sentence. The sentence was just. The question is everything that happened before January 23rd, 2022. Taylor had already told someone. She had already gone to the courts. She documented what Duncan was doing, the blocked car, the kicked-in door, the times he followed her, the moment he tried to run her over. She did not stay silent. She did not do nothing. She stood in front of a judge in March of 2021 and said, "This man is a danger to me," and she was sent away. The denial of that restraining order is not a footnote in this story. It is the center of it. Because when the system looks at a woman's testimony about the man in her home, following her car, put his hands on her property, and decides that does not meet the threshold for protection, it is not a paperwork issue. It is a life or death decision. And in Taylor's case, it was the wrong one. This is not unique to Florence, South Carolina. Across the country, women in dangerous relationships are turned away from courthouses, told to handle things through divorce proceedings, told their claims don't meet the legal standard. And some of them, like Taylor, do not survive the wait. If you are watching this and you are in a situation that feels unsafe, document everything. Dates, times, incidents. Tell someone you trust. Contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. And if one door closes, push another one open. Taylor's story is a reminder that the burden should never have been on her alone. But until systems change, information is protection. Share this video. It could reach someone who needs it. Taylor McFadden Robinson was not just a victim of Duncan Robinson Jr. She was a victim of every moment the system looked at her situation and looked away. She was 29 years old. She had 2 boys who will grow up knowing their mother was taken from them. Not in an accident, not by fate, but by a man who chose violence because he believed he could get away with it. Her clients knew her as someone who showed up. Her neighbors knew her as the mother outside with her kids. Her community in Florence knew her as a woman building something real. For her family, for herself, for the people she helped find homes and rebuild their credit. That was Taylor. That is how she should be remembered, not for how she died, but for how she lived. Fully, ambitiously, lovingly, right up until the moment someone took that from her. Duncan Robinson Jr. will spend the rest of his life in a cell, and Taylor's boys will spend the rest of their lives without her. That imbalance is something no sentence can correct, but accountability still matters. Justice still matters. And telling her story, correctly, completely, without looking away from the parts that are uncomfortable, that matters too. If this case moved you, if it made you think, if it reminded you of someone you know or a story you've heard before, hit that subscribe button and stay with this channel. Every week we cover cases like Taylor's. Real people, real stories, real consequences. Share this video so her story reaches further than it would have otherwise. And leave a comment. What part of this case do you think deserves more attention? The system that failed her? The sentence he received? Tell us below. Taylor McFadden Robinson, 29 years old, Florence, South Carolina. She deserved better. And the least we can do now is make sure the world knows her name.